Grace to all of you, overwhelming grace, incredible grace, unlimited grace. What's up? Let's see what we can come up with tonight. But I want to share something with you. All right, go ahead and get you something to take notes with. I'm about to bully you. Do I have my Coke near? Bah! Yay! Glory. The Lord is kind to us. I absolutely do. Well, grace to all of you. Listen, I have a subject matter that I want to deal with you about, and I'd like for you, if possible, to imagine you and I talking. I'm going to start obviously doing a lot of these consistently. Patrick Corey, hey man. But I'm working on a broader project, my podcast. I'm getting into movie writing, a lot of stuff I got going on this year. But the point of this is to start your attention towards the content, the sayings that I want to put out and that I want to do. So I have something for you tonight, something that is very important to me. Many of you that are new to this platform or to my ministry expression or anything like that, by profession, I'm a degreed educator. So I worked with the development of IEPs. I have what you call in the state of Illinois, Type 75, which qualified me to be a principal, an assistant principal. I worked in turnaround projects in Chicago several years ago. I literally was Joe Clark. If you follow me, you know my father used to call me that. So that's what I did, and that's what I do. When I came out of the system in about 2010 and went full-time in ministry, I employed, obviously, a lot of the tactics, techniques, learnings, and all of that stuff that I did while I was working professionally as an educator. So I did English teaching, then I went from English teaching to public school administration, then I went out of that into an area or an organization whose whole job was to increase and to critique testing performances in underserved communities. And I did that for quite some time, and I enjoyed it until I didn't enjoy it no more. So that's a part of why I am how I am. I remember today I was thinking about some things and some projects that I'm working on, and I remember something I used to always tell my students when I was working a 9 to 5. And one of the things I would make them do is I would make them think about the power of air, the power of air. Now, you know, I am a scenic route preacher, so you know I'm going somewhere. I would make them think about air, how we can't see it, how we can feel it, how we can't trace it all the time, how it can be destructive, how it's necessary, absolutely fundamental. But I would talk to them about air. And the reason I would talk to them about air and the significance of air, whoever's my note taker or my graphic designer tonight, start working now, because air to me is as valuable or as necessary or is in the same category of potential. All right, let's open your mind, open your heart. Potential. Potential and air are very similar. You can't necessarily see it, but you know it's there. You can't necessarily bottle it, but you need it. It's difficult to trace its direction, but you know when it is done what it is supposed to do. So I would often teach them, and I had athletes, I had band members. I was very much a part of people that were a part of the Divine Nine and fraternities and sororities and the military and all that stuff. Cal Allen, I love you, stay on. And I would tell them that my issue with their complacency was their knowledge of their potential. I'm going to rephrase that so that you can let that sink in. When I would challenge them, when I would confront them, when I would deal with them, about who they are and where they are and what they know and where they should be going. I would talk to them about the issues of their stagnation, their plateaus in life. And I would contrast it to air. For some, very many, Bishop Lamont Hilliard, good to see you. For some, knowledge of potential is enough to stay in the same place. Now, I told you I'm dealing with you as if we were one-on-one, and I want you to receive it in that heart. There's a lot of people that are confident, comfortable, complacent in the fact that they know that they have an ability, a skill, a depth, a capacity, a knowledge, a proclivity that is unused, and that's enough to anchor them. And so they get comfortable and they get complacent with the knowledge of their potential. But the reason I contrast air and potential to the same is because it is useful, it is necessary, it is absolutely important to your existence in life and everything that you are. But here is the problem. We cannot benefit from, profit from, grow from, be healed from, delivered from anything that you have the ability to do that you've not committed to do. That was a very amplified statement. It was kind of robust, so I'm going to rephrase it or re-say it. We can't benefit from, grow from, be blessed by the thing or things that you have it in you to do that you've not done. Potential is tricky. Potential is deceptive at times. And there's a lot of people who coast in life, coast in business, coast in ministry with knowledge of their potential being the only thing that they use to get them through every day. But what are you doing with your air and your breath? And why do you feel like your knowledge of your potential is enough for you to stay the same? So knowing that you have potential is not enough to change anything about your life or anybody else's life around you. And if in fact you feel like your destiny, your existence is here to change, modify, revolutionize, transform anybody else's life, if that is not occurring, it could be that you have a grasp on the knowledge of your potential and you've done nothing with it. So the issue here that I'm dealing with you tonight about is, can I suggest to you that 2023 should be the year that you're committed to your own potential? Yeah, the skills, the talents, the depths, the abilities, the proclivities, the talents, the uniquenesses, if I can say it that way. Everything in you, like air, that is invisible, that for whatever the reasons are, lack of discipline, lack of resource, lack of bravery, complacency, immaturity, whatever the reasons are, the things that are in you that are invisible that need to physicalize and manifest, because we are only blessed by that is manifested. We are only impacted and or changed by that is manifested. Nobody gets changed by your potential. Nobody gets freed because you got potential. Breon! Hey there, man. Nobody gets set free, loosed, matured, grow. What we experienced or what we are blessed by or what we are challenged by as your life audience is the thing that is in you to do that you did. The skill that you know that is in you that you cultivated. The power, the gift that you know is in you. The knowledge of it is not enough. You've got to be committed to your own potential. Now, everybody wants to talk about where their mentors are, and I believe in it. It's a passion of mine. Everybody wants to talk about where the disciples are, and don't let me get into the mama, daddy thing and all of that. And all of that is important. But the real issue is, if you're not committed to your potential first, you shouldn't trust a teacher. If a teacher comes and is revealed to you or approaches you, if a mentor comes and connects to you, if a spiritual parent arrives and commits to you in that way, but they don't enter your life on the premise of your own commitment to your own potential, you're going to exhaust them, waste their time, waste their energy, waste their resource. You're not going to use their warnings well. Their wisdom will go out of one ear to the next. And some people want these relationships just because they're lonely. I submit to you that you need to commit to your potential before you ask somebody else to partner with it. When I enter into your life to instruct you, to challenge you, to cause you to see things differently, to respond differently as a husband, to respond differently as a wife, to grow in your friendships or your business life, when I manifest in your life in that way, it needs to be on the precedent that you've already decided that you're worth it, that you're valuable, that you've got to be disciplined, that you can't have the same standards as everybody else. You've got to have at least that part resolved. I'm going to tell you a lot of my mistakes in my career after I left my professional world, a lot of my mistakes, emotionally speaking, relationally speaking, heck, sometimes financially speaking, is that I walked down the aisle and got in the ring with people that were still in the dressing room. I'm going to repeat so that you can conceptualize what I just told you. Me, Matthew Lewis Stevenson III, EDD. I walked down the aisle, heard the bell ring, the referee was there, and I got in there, and I was doing all of this for somebody that hadn't even decided to change their clothes and get in there. So it's difficult to be more committed to a person than they are. And sometimes as a coach or a mentor or a teacher or an influencer or a leader, sometimes we can overcommit and overextend ourselves because of what we see in people. But I'm going to give those of you that teach and open your homes and go to restaurants and pour into people, let me warn you, if they're not in the ring, you stay in the dressing room, because it's the weapon of the devil to exhaust you and to discourage you and to make you feel like that there's no point to pouring and that there is no real reward to sculpting and cultivating and giving room for you. It is a weapon of discouragement, and that could be a whole different live in and of itself. But you don't get in the ring as a teacher, as a coach, as a mentor, as a spiritual father, mother, whatever you're going to call yourself, a midwife, a handmaiden, blah, 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 blah. You don't get in the ring until you see that they've already got there. Then you come and you get in their corner and you disciple and you develop and you give them the water and you help them for the rounds of the battle that they're supposed to be in. Because when you pour into people, it is you voluntarily signing up to aid somebody in a war that ain't yours. I don't smoke cigarettes. You do. I'm not a stripper. You are. I'm not a serial fornicator. That's your issue. And okay, there's nothing that I won't invest or involve myself in. The full gambit of the flesh, I'm fine with it. You can have whatever issue, battle, struggle, war, whatever you got going on. I'm willing. I have a willingness, but my willingness is not enough, because my willingness has to meet your commitment to your own potential. And unless that marries, and unless that joins, and unless that partners, we're on our way nowhere. It is a pointless, purposeless, directionless relationship, because you're sitting in the comfort of the knowledge of your potential, but you ain't made a covenant with it. I am challenging you in 2023. This goes for me and you. We've got to commit to our own potential. There are things in you that you should be that you're not. There are things that you have the ability to do that you've not done. There are skills in you that could stand to be cultivated a bit more. There are sensitivities. I want to rephrase that. Sensitivities. There are things that you're sensitive to that other people ignore and are not sensitive to, that give you a unique insight and foresight into things that other people don't know. And those things should not be suppressed, oppressed, or depressed. You have to pay attention to your sensitivities, because they are indicators of things that you were designed to do and designed to be and designed to bring forth. But what good is a voice of inspiration or warning or teaching or a wisdom-based relationship You can use this, or a recovery-based relationship or interaction or dynamic. If I'm more committed to you than you are. And it's easy. It's easy. It's easy because when God connects you to an environment like that, a church like that, a community like that, a family like that, a teacher like that, a mentor like that, what we're going to see is your invisible self. We're going to run into what we believe about you. Glory. We're going to see the ethereal you, the incorporeal you, the you that is not tangible or manifested. You've got the potential to be a great this. You are purposed. You are prophesied to be all of that. The problem is all of that is concept. All of that is possibility. All of that is there. But when I show up in your world, and when wisdom shows up in your world, and when trial shows up in your world, and when tribulation shows up in your world, a teacher is supposed to connect the dots to your testings and your tribulations. A teacher is supposed to help or partner with the Holy Spirit and narrate why you go through what you go through, and why you face what you face, and why you must react and respond in the ways that you do. But if you are lazily committed, apathetic, lethargic, not interested, melancholy, just indifferent about your potential, we have no real place of incision or insertion to be able to steer you in the direction of wisdom, which in my opinion, at this phase of my life, is one of the bottom lines of life. Wisdom, reaching for it. So your potential is like air. You live by it, from it, for it, around it. But we can't see it. And as long as it's invisible, it can't do much. Nobody cares that you have a lot of potential. What we care about is what you do, what you discipline yourself in, what you commit to, how you yield, how you respond, how you react, with the knowledge of what's in you. I know there's more in me. If you're listening to me and you believe this and I'm talking to you, please type that in these comments. I know there's more in me. I didn't do as good as I could with that project. I didn't do the best that I could have in that relationship. I didn't build that concept the way or the best way I could have. I gave it a half effort, and the way you see yourself has everything to do with your fundamental relationship with God. Fundamentally speaking, if your devotion is off, none of this is going to make sense to begin with. So you need to start at step one. Let's start with fasting, prayer, and study and worship. Let's get that correct. Because fasting, prayer, worship, praise, study on a daily basis is your life glossary. I will repeat it. Fasting, prayer, study, worship, praise on a daily basis. I call it devotion, which is the discipleship of days, is your life glossary. You pull from that place words, phrases, concepts, pictures, verbs, ideas, signs, icons. You pull from that place. I know I just gave you a lot. Just re-watch it. You pull from that place and it gives you a glossary for life. It gives you a compass for life. And so when you have that in place, it is less likely that you'll live your life in ambiguity, discombobulation, and confusion. The problem, though, is if you live your life comfortable, undisturbed, just because you know you got potential, you're not going to be what God told Abraham was with you, all the families of the earth will be blessed. That was a word to his potential. God speaks all the time to your potential. He highlights your potential. Basically, what that is addressing where you are and declaring where you need to go, declaring what you have in you, and then prophesying or speaking to the strength therein and how it needs to manifest and who it's going to bless. I want you to believe in what's in you, and it needs to be perfected. Yes, It needs to be corrected. Yes. It needs to be resourced. Yes. It needs to be steered. Yes. But if you're not commitment, may I take a brief parentheses here? Parenthetically pausing. We have a lot of commitment issues. I don't know if it's because we like options and routes and paths and ways. And, we get a season where everybody's on the dating apps, and I'm not judging that. But I'm wondering if we treat our lives like 31 flavors. And because of that, we have breached maybe or damaged our ability to commit, or maybe recrafted what we think about commitment and having one thing at a time and focusing on one thing at a time. I just wonder, these are all just me philosophizing, guys. No judgment. I just wonder what's happening to our ability to commit to a thing. I wonder if during the pandemic, maybe the thumb devil came, and it's hard for us to submit and commit to the standard, the culture, the vision of our church, because we get to scroll and be a part of everybody's church on a Sunday morning now. There's some people that I train and groom and preach to. Now the internet is their pastor. And whatever is famous or popular or new, they gravitate to like gnats to fruit or lights. Commitment is a real issue these days. And I'm not just talking about romantically. I'm not just talking about in friendships. I'm even talking to you about your commitment to yourself. Are you committed to the best you? The most mature you, the more it's almost like culturally induced ADHD, our inability to set in a thing, grab our teeth on it, and commit to it until it's matured and fruitful and grows. I'm challenging you. Make 2023 the year where you commit to your own potential. Nobody will be more passionate about what I'm assigned to do than me. Nobody will be more invested in my complete recovery and restoration than I am. Nobody will be more sensitive to the leading of the Holy Ghost in my life concerning my success, my influence, my reach, my voice, my value, my creativity. Nobody. I'll be committed first. And when I demonstrate that commitment, then when my teachers come and when my mentors come, and when my family comes and my community comes, what they do is they enrich me, they upgrade me, they support me, but they hold me accountable to my potential. So as I started, potential is like air. We can't do nothing with it until you use it. We can do nothing with it and not benefit from it until it manifests. May you manifest in this year your greatest self. Is going to take, because here's how potential works. You never reach potential without pain. You never reach potential without pivots, the ability to turn. You never reach potential without processes. You never reach potential without those things. It takes pain. It takes pivots or turns or shifts or adjustments. And it takes processes, things that you can't rush and things that you can't even force. I'm talking to about 400 people that's been policing loyalty, policing commitments, trying to hold on to and maintain relationships that leave you in uncertainty and insecurity. And you're like, oh, be with me. Don't do that to me. Don't leave me. Are you with me? Do you have my back? And you've had several relational interviews where you wanted to make sure that you had the security of a person or community's value in your life or interest in your life or their work. Stop. The word of the Lord to you is stop. If I have to question your loyalty, it does not exist. If I have to question your commitment, it does not exist. Now, maybe it used to, but if I, for whatever reason, on the recipient end of your support and your commitment and your love and your affirmation and your faithfulness, by the time I've questioned it, it's been departed and distant for a while. But I will not exhaust myself with trying to make sure it stays intact. I'm going to give you a word and I'm going to move on. If they can leave you, let them. If in your mind you can live without me and be without my role or part in your world or space, by all means, do it. But do not police it and do not stalk it and do not exhaust yourself with trying to make sure that it can remain intact. Why am I bringing that up? Because at the end of the day, if you spend your time doing that, what you sacrifice is your potential. You could be using that energy to do other things. You've got books you were supposed to finish reading. You've got degree programs you were supposed to be mastering. You got certifications. You got trips that you were supposed to be on. You've got adventures you were supposed to be doing. And all of that got occupied with you running up after some people and waiting on people to react and respond in a way that guaranteed that they loved you or that they were with you or that they were committed to your potential. No, you commit to you. You commit to you and you'll date differently. You commit to you and you'll befriend differently. You commit to you and you'll finish projects. You won't just start them. Commit to yourself first and you'll be a better mother and you'll be a better father. Commit to improving you. Don't make anybody come into your life or in your world and be the mascot of your potential. You know, I made a decision. No matter who comes, what goes, what happens, I am committed to my own potential, and I am developing and believing God daily for the bravery to be a version of me that I've never seen before. May this be so for you, that this year of your life, you become a version of you never dreamed could be. And that's in every area of your life. I'm not just talking about your church tambourine playing self. I'm talking about you as a total purpose and a total point of God. Your total being, your total call, your destiny, your fate, all around. May you be the best you've ever been. And whatever that costs you and whatever expense that is, it's more expensive to settle than it is to grow. It's more expensive to become complacent than it is to stretch yourself beyond the barriers and the borders of who you used to be. Now, there will be those that leave your life as you grow. Hear what I say to you. Because there are people who are reliant on the version of you that is broken, wounded, imperfect, insecure, unstable, inconsistent. They're connected to that part of you. It's called a trauma bond. So then when you start to grow and heal and develop and mature and it starts to look like you're acting funny and developing an immunity to certain things, or your maturity starts to do things that it didn't used to do in your life, and it's showing up in your profitability, your consistency, your resilience, you won't have to break up with people. People will fall off as you heal. As a matter of fact, that's probably one of the signs of healing, is people fall off. Because there are people that profit from your dysfunction at times. I'll get there much later. Anyway, I want you to commit to your own potential. If nobody ever gives you a reading list, what you gonna do? If nobody ever takes you to Starbucks and gives you an opportunity, what you gonna do? If you never get the opportunity to have a microphone, what you gonna do? If you never get a life coach or join a program, that what are you going to do? Are you just going to sit there, or are you going to do everything within your power to make sure your life has life in it? And that your destiny, your purpose, your calling, your assignment, dare I say your ministry, is the reason for your error. All right? So the bottom line is potential means nothing until you've done something with it. Appreciate your knowledge of it. Yeah. You got the potential to be a good everything. But what ignites wisdom, what incites revelation, what attracts teachers, mentors, coaches, communities, and even invites opportunities is that you're committed to your own potential. You need to commit to your potential. Period. No more average, no more mundane, no more melancholy, no more lethargy, no more apathy, no more lukewarmness. You got to commit to yourself. By all costs, by any means necessary, do it. You owe it to yourself. How in the heck, how are you going to suffer everything you've suffered, lived through, everything you've lived through, gone through, everything you've gone through, hurt by everything you've been hurt by, and just live in the moderate version of who you are, or the casual version of who you are? No, be passionately you. Be excellently you, authoritatively you, bravely you, boldly you, deliberately you, intentionally you, to the glory of God, in the name of Jesus, and to the future of the kingdom. For your legacy, your heritage, your story map, your line. Make your obedience mean something. Make your suffering pay. Let's do this. But we need you to be committed, and be committed to your own self. Yeah, man. Today I spent some time thinking about my potential. What do I have the ability to do, the passion to do, the bandwidth to do, the mind to do, the intelligence to do, the intellect to do, the discipline to do, the time to do, the space to do, that I've not done? And why? It's enough to occupy a couple of days, if you think about that for real. So let's be accountable to our potential. What has God called us to do? What has God made us to be? How has God designed us? We are the artistry, the workmanship, the craftsmanship of God, a perfect and a divine design meant to achieve something. But we've got to commit to our potential. And that may mean more discomfort than you're willing to accept or acknowledge. But it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. But I wanted to stir you up about the next version of you. Simon, where is Peter? Saul, where is Paul? Jacob, where is Israel? And what is the journey, the process, the length and the distance between those two individuals? Who you're supposed to be is already inside of you. Reach for it. Okay, that was that. And I want you to be it, live it, fulfill. Pray for your boy.